Hello and welcome back to Popcorn Chat. I hope you guys are doing well. This video is a little add-on to an Instagram post that I did at the end of last year where I ranked the Harry Potter films from my favourite to my least favourite. So Rio from Rio's Positive Reviews wanted to hear a bit of my reasoning behind my choices, so this video is for you, Rio. So in at number 8 we have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. So the reason that this is in last place for me is I just found this film to be really elongated for no reason. I obviously knew that they were splitting the final book into 2 films. That's what most franchises do, just to make more money really. And I just found it really slow, especially when Harry, Hermione and Ron are just sort of wandering around the woods and there's sort of tensions rising. There's good elements in it, but I just think overall it's probably the least exciting film for me. So in at number 7 we have Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. The reason that this film is so low down on my list is I just think nothing really happens in the film. I think it's very sort of stuck on the sort of Harry's friends just trying to learn and upskill themselves, ready for like Dumbledore's army, and it's a lot of time is spent behind that mirrored room where they're practicing, and you don't even see Voldemort until like the last 5-10 minutes. There's some good moments. I think that's probably one of the better moments, that sort of fight, and he sort of becomes Harry, like it goes into him through the sort of the broken glass, and I think that's probably the best part of this film. So I think it's a good time period within the character's life, but I just think this one's a little bit plain. Let me know if you agree. So in at number 6 we have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. The reason that this film is sort of in the second half of my list is because I think in the first half of the film it has very much the feel of Deathly Hallows Part 1, and I think it's brilliant obviously because it wraps everything up. It's the last film. It was a conclusion to everything, but I just seem to have better memories of the earlier films. Yeah, there's good moments, there's good quotes, there's good character things with Neville especially. I don't know, it just doesn't sit too high for me, but I know a lot of people do love this film, but for me it's just comes in at number 7. So in at number 5 we have Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. So this is the second film in the franchise, and you can already see that it gets a lot darker in its tone. It's still quite playful. It has those sort of light-hearted scenes with like Ron and the slugs, etc. But overall you can see the tone is definitely getting a lot darker. I like the introduction of various characters like Gilderoy Lockhart. I think it is sort of a great sort of comic relief at the same time. And I think the deeper understanding of Voldemort is obviously introduced into this film and his past. I wouldn't jump to this film if I had the choice out of the other Harry Potter films. So in at number 4 we have Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, or Sorcerer's Stone if you're American. For me, the first film will always be special. It's my first insight into the world of Harry Potter, as I didn't read the books at the time. However, it was so brilliant at building this sort of magical world, and the characters and the animals and the shops, all this sort of detail was just mind-blowing to me. I really love this film because it has those light-hearted moments, which obviously the later half of the franchise doesn't. It's very different tonally, but I do enjoy it for what it is. This is probably the film I quote most out of all the Harry Potter films, and I just enjoy it for what it is. And I know me and my friends, we sort of go back to it again and again, and it's just probably the most Christmassy one. So I watch this one mainly at Christmas, but I just love it for what it is. It just sets up the world. So we're into top 3 now. So in third place we have Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. What I love about the Half-Blood Prince is what we were sort of getting hints of in the Order of the Phoenix, and that is the more sort of humane elements of these sort of young people, you know, relationships, friendships, what really matters. And I love the film, and I love the comedic timing, especially I think Daniel Radcliffe gives a great performance when he has the liquid look. I think Jim Broadbent is a brilliant character to add into this, and essentially he is a vital part in helping to defeat Voldemort. I love this film. I think it just shows a real range of the characters, tone, there's emotion. I love Draco Malfoy's story that he goes on. I think this is just such great characterisation, and his story arc sort of really peaks in this film. So in at number 2 we have Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. The reason why I enjoy Goblet of Fire, which is the 4th film, so much is because there's so much going on and we are introduced to different characters within the school that we haven't even met in the first 3 films, such as Cedric Diggory, and we also get to see the other schools within the wizarding world. And I just think it builds upon what the first film was setting up. There was the really sort of rich world, these sort of really 3D characters. When we see Ralph Fiennes as Voldemort in that final act, I found this really terrifying. I thought he gives a great performance in this film, and I just love what he does with the character. And this really sets up for the rest of the films, because this is where we see Voldemort in like a full body. We've not really seen him up until this point. This film has it all for me. It has the emotional character stories, it has those sort of funny moments, the sort of romantic moments. It just has everything and it ticks all the boxes for me, so that's why it sits at second place. So in first position we have Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Like with all the Harry Potter films that I've mentioned, I always went and saw them in the cinema, and this experience I will never forget. This film came out in 2004, so I would have been 9 years old, 8, 9 years old, depends when it came out in the year, and I was absolutely terrified. The final act, where we sort of see Lupin transform, we see Peter Pettigrew transform back into a human, absolutely terrified me. It was disgusting, it was scary, it was gross. Gary Oldman freaked me out. All of those characters absolutely terrified me. It's not until I was a little bit older, watched it on DVD again and again, and sort of saw the rest of the films once they came out, I understood the characters a lot more, and I could sort of go back and appreciate this film how it should have been seen the first time. From the third film, these films tonally get so much darker, and visually they get a lot darker. But what I love about this film is how Alfonso Cuarón is able to play with time and the way that he visually tells that story. I love how he's able to visually misdirect you as an audience to make you think that something's happening to a character, i.e. Buckbeak. I think it's done brilliantly, and the way in which we sort of begin to understand as an audience, as we repeat, as we go back in time with Hermione and Harry, we are starting to piece these bits together, understand it all, and then obviously we have a big reveal about who was that character that was doing the Patronus charm, and of course it was Harry. So I just love the whole reveal and the sort of the imagery, the colour grading. It just sets it up. His artistic style sets it up for the rest of the franchise, and I love that. So there you have it. There's my ranking of the Harry Potter films. Let me know in the comments if you have a similar sort of favourite film or the least favourite film in the franchise. Do you love Prisoner of Azkaban? Is it up there for you as well? Maybe you love Deathly Hallows Part 1. That's totally fine. That's what I love about these films. Everyone that I speak to about what's your favourite Harry Potter film, what's your least favourite Harry Potter film, it's different every time. There's so much you can draw upon individually and connect with, and that's what I love about these films. They're so sort of versatile. They speak to people differently, or maybe they don't, maybe they're not your sort of film at all, but that's what I love. They cause a sort of conversation, a divide in opinion. So yeah, that's what I love the Harry Potter films. So if you guys like to see me talk through maybe some of the films specifically, let me know in the comments, because I'm very much happy to do that. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's video, and I'll see you next week for another popcorn chat.